What's going on, everybody? Thank y'all again for tuning in to another episode of the Dope Sessions podcast. My name is Kelvy, and for this episode, I'm very ecstatic to have the guest that I have right now. We've known a little bit about each other for a little bit. Big fan of his work. Just a dope cat, and I'm just like really honored that he wanted to do the podcast with me today. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, my homeboy Fable.
What's good, Charles? First and foremost, I want to say I'm humbled that you even wanted to do this with me. So, tip my hat off to you.
Oh man, no problem, man. Like, and I tell people all the time, like when I first started this podcast, it was never my intention to always like do it alone, but because the pandemic that we're going through, I was like, this would be an opportunity for me to just like chop it up with like people that I just indie artists that I admire and have become friends with, and just just wanting to talk and chat and just give the people y'all information so they could check out your work and everything.
No, it's definitely it's much needed, especially right now. And that's one plus about this whole like world situation we're going through right now, is that it's forcing cats to really be creative and step outside of their comfort zone to really create new energy, you know what I'm saying? New dialogue. So I feel like it's super important, especially with the visual medium and just what we on right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. All of these video like chat apps, they making a killing right now.
Yeah, for real.
So
man. Yeah,
but
man.
No, I'm happy to be here, man.
Yeah. I'm happy that you wanted to do this, bro. Like, for real. Now, like a couple of weeks ago, because like sometimes I would tell my brother Kareem.
Shout out Kareem. Shout out Anti-Genius.
Yeah. And he would I would always tell him like that me and you connected and we talk from time to time and stuff like that. And then like I think so, because we all busy and stuff like that we all kind of tend to forget certain things. But like a couple of weeks ago, he was like, man, he said when this pandemic is over, man, he was like, I think you and Fable should like link up, man. He was like, and not just to do stuff together, but just like, he was like, y'all kind of like the same, but just like y'all real cool and y'all humble and all this other stuff. And he was just like, I think y'all would mesh well together. And I was just like, I said, you know what, like me and Fable talk from time to time, but like, and I linked up on that vibe because we kind of like the same stuff, and so when this kind of presented itself for me to do this podcast, I was just like, I really wanted you to be on it.
No, I'm humble, man. And like I said before, like that distance, it was only because, you know what I'm saying? Like I got an entire family, like, so stuff be kind of like hectic, and the stuff that you do see me do, it's like stuff that I've had in the stash for a while, but I'm just very resourceful. So like anything from like any visual videos I put up, or like any like artwork for like my singles or songs that I drop, I'm doing everything on the go, on the phone. Like, and that's the thing, like, because I got a family and because I got so much going on, I just have to learn how to like master like multitasking. So just doing multiple things at the same time.
Right. But
not only just doing multiple things at the same time, but making sure that everything is still quality when it's given out, to the people. So yeah, man. But nah, I'm definitely glad like we linked up. We into a lot of the same things, mostly movies, I feel like, because I feel like when it comes to movies, I like more obscure films. I do like, the Oscar nominated stuff, but I like more obscure films. And I know you've mentioned a bunch of stuff like on your podcast. Go check out that podcast if you haven't already. On all podcast, DSPs. but on your movie podcast, you highlight a lot of different movies that I really be into.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm more into like the psyche, the psychological meaning of like movies, underlying meanings, like that whole nine. So yeah, we definitely click on that.
Yeah, most definitely. My first question would be, when did you realize, or when was the light bulb that went off that was just like, hip hop is what I want to do?
That actually goes all the way back to 98. I remember at 98, 99. I remember the first. So this is the thing. The first rap album my mom allowed me to buy was Will Smith's Big Willie Style.
Right.
And I know it's hilarious, but I grew up in like a straight Christian household, so I couldn't listen to stuff with a bunch of cursing in it and all of that. But my mom, she started noticing that I was like sneaking listening to like explicit versions of music, and so she was like, you know what? Either he's gonna keep sneaking off to listen to this music, or I could just let him listen to it. So the first explicit album she let me buy was Busta Rhymes' Extinction Level Event. And I just want to say right now, Busta does not get the credit that he deserves, just as an MC, as a trendsetter, none of that. And I feel like he won't get it until, it's too late. But that's the first album that I remember picking up. And from that album, Knots produced heavily on it. Dilla, that's when I fell in love with Dilla. Swiss Beats. But like, that kind of like introduced me, because Busta was mainstream and people kind of forget that. But Busta, he had a bunch of underground like elements to all his albums. So from there, I started getting into, Rock Digger, who was my favorite female MC ever. And I put that Harriet Tubman album up against any female artist. She's like my favorite. That's how I got introduced to like Rock Marciano, Knots, Megahertz, Evil D. Like, it just opened me up to like Lyricist Lounge, and then I got into Quali, got into Mos Def. So it was just kind of, that's when I knew, like, man, this is what I want to do. I didn't start rapping though, or like putting pen to paper until I was in high school.
Okay.
So like freshman, sophomore year in high school, that's when I was like, you know what, I want to do this. And when you first start, your aspirations are much bigger than the actual talent that you have. I had the ingredients, but you got to fine tune stuff. You got to live life. You got to really like work at it to like become a seasoned artist. So.
Right. What was the moment you was just like, okay, now it's just time for me to just like get out there and start, do maybe like doing open mics and just going forward with, what you wanted to do. Right.
So I started rapping like freshman, sophomore year in high school. I got to shout out my homie Justin. Justin that's my 10-year homie. Like, we've been homies since 2002, 2003. We met each other in high school, and we've been tight ever since. Me and him came together, and we formed this thing called Get Right Music. And what we did in our senior year of high school, he had like a studio set up in his basement at his crib. So literally every day, because we had this like not off campus, it was like a field experience thing that we had to do for our senior year of high school. It was a requirement for us to graduate. So I spent a lot of my time at street level youth media. So that's how I picked up how to like record myself, record songs, working with like different interfaces and stuff like that. And that's really when I started delving heavy into like the production. Justin actually gave me my first version of Fruity Loops. So that's what really got me into everything. So with my beats wasn't where I wanted them to be at first. So I was like, man, why don't we just get together? Let's do a mixtape. The mixtape had 21 tracks on it. And the majority of the instrumentals that we grabbed for that joint was like Kanye instrumentals, because Kanye was larger than life at the time. I think this is right off this is right off the tail of like late registration. So like we hitting that whole college dropout through the wire. Hey mama, like that era. So we took a lot of them beats and we just put original raps to it. And we started handing them joints out at school, and before we knew it, man, like it was a huge, like, big deal. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, like you really rapping. You know what I'm saying? So after that, I went to college. I went to DePaul. I ain't finished just because it's way too expensive. I started at DePaul and I started linking up with different cats there. But the first like open mic thing that I really went to was at Exodus 2 over on Clark Street. Mixtape Mondays, they would do this weekly open mic, you know, where cats come out, they could showcase their talent. And then once every month they would have like this jackpot of like $250 or whatever. People pay at the door, pay $5 at the door, and basically you basically get a chance to win everything that was made from people coming in at the door. So that's when I really started like honing my skills. That's why I met Kareem. You know, that's why I met No Try Do Sincere, and cats like that. And that's honestly how me and you ended up linking. Through him and through Anti-Genius, because I've been knowing Anti-Genius for I don't know how long, man. We were at one point in time we was gearing up to like work on the EP, but you know, life happens. I was moving a lot. It was a bunch of stuff going on. But like I hate. So I love and hated Exodus too, because you know it was like the typical like pay to play like type thing. Like you could perform on these big shows with artists. At the time it was like Mickey Hosted, Ryan Fest, stuff like that. You could perform at these shows, but you had to sell X amount of tickets at $10 a piece. And if you think about it, if you got 20 tickets, you got to pop off, and they $10 a piece. You basically paying $200 to perform on stage. You know, with these other people. In hindsight, it's just I look at it as I was paying dues. Like I got the shorthand of the stick a lot, but I feel like every artist has to go through that mode of paying dues, because when you paying dues, it makes you really appreciate when you're able to stand on your own too, and you say, nah, I don't need that. As cool as it might seem or look, I don't need that. Right. I could just put the money into what I'm doing and just figure it out. And before, like, we didn't have the internet like we have it now. Right. Like, now it's no excuse for anybody to say, oh man, I need a video. Man, look up YouTube, learn how to shoot a video. It's like, man, I don't know how to make beats. I don't know how to use Adobe Illustrator. I don't know how to use Photoshop. It's like, man, the resources are endless now. So it's really no excuse. If you say, hey, I can't do something, it's just because you're lazy and you procrastinating. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, but now I would never take those experiences back, because it helped build who I am today, as an artist and just as a man, period. You know what I'm saying? So,
and you know what, man, like, as you were telling your story about just like starting off in high school, like a lot of that stuff I could relate to, because like I was always trapped between wanting to do hip hop and wanting to do movies, because those were the two things that I've always wanted to do. And like, but like I remember just like starting to write like poetry in high school, and like writing rhymes in high school, and I remember like my first like battle in high school, and and for those that don't know, I ended up like my first battle in high school was my friend Joseph, who later on would become Drunken Monkey. But
hilarious.
but
hilarious.
But me and him battled in the lunchroom, and that was at a time where I was like, I had never, like, all I would do was freestyle, but like I would never battle. And so me and him just kind of battled, and it went on for a while, this battle, and he tells the story too. Like, he got so mad that he lost that he flipped his lunch tray, and all his food, it landed on my shirt and stuff. But like, but But man, it's the trip how all of that, just how we can both, like, especially with hip hop, all of it, like, of course, you know, we listen to it as kids, but like in high school, that's when it all kind of culminates into like deciding like what you want to do. I want to kind of get into your influences. Like, who are your influences when it comes to the MCing that you do and the beats that you make? Like, who are your influences?
Well, with rapping, it's crazy because a lot of my biggest rap influences are from the crib. So like, obviously Twister, was early on. Buster, like I said earlier. But like, I think the person who I tried to emulate most when I was rapping was Common.
Okay.
And Common is one of my favorite MCs. He don't get his just due either. But Common, you know, Kanye on multiple areas. Lupe Fiasco, really, because Lupe was like from out west. I'm from out west.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up out west. I stayed out south for a little bit, but the majority of my childhood was like Ohio and Ridgeway, or like the Austin neighborhood where my mom's crib is now. So like Augusta and Menard. So like West Side was like it for me. So like when Lupe came out, and Lupe was from Madison Gardens, which is on Madison and Kedzie, it was like right up the street from me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that really captivated me because, you know, when people think of Chicago, they think of the artists that are all from like the South Side.
Right.
And it's cool because I love seeing any Chicago artists like get love and get out here and go crazy and get their bread. I love it. You know what I'm saying? I love seeing other people win. But it hit a little different when it's somebody from your side of the town, and the high level of lyricism that he's displaying. Like, I think that's really like what broke it for me. I was like, man, dude, if he could do it, sky's the limit. So it's like, I remember when I was in high school, and I was going on off campus lunch, me and my homie Justin, and we actually saw Lupe. I think he was with like Bishop G, J Rock, and there was some other people from First and 15th, and he was passing out the Fahrenheit 115 mixtape. This is pre-Kick Push, this before all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And we got that joint, and I popped it in, and it completely blew my mind. Like, dude, Failure is like one of my favorite like Lupe joints. The way he was flipping styles on there, like, it's just crazy, man. And then, you know, delving deeper into you know, just into MCing, like, I just love like classic like dudes that just rap, like rappers, just a rapper's rapper. So like, obviously like Black Thought, Most Def, you know, back then, you know, Kweli, you know, even, you know, back to the crib, like Mickey Halstead. Mickey Halstead is one of my favorite MCs ever. You know what I'm saying? The delivery, just everything. And you know, from there, you know, I started like branching off into like, you know, other regions. Like, it was one point in time, like, I was obsessed with like Battle Cat, like, and West Coast like production, you know, Dre. So of course like Snoop, or like MC8, Corrupt, you know what I'm saying? Like Blue, you know, cats like that, even Crime Dime, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It's just all over the place. And that's the thing, like, I've never, when I was in high school, man, I was super backpack. I didn't want to hear anything commercial. But then I remember when I heard Jay-Z Blueprint album, that's the first album that I had listened to, and I'm like, dude, this is a classic. On the first listen through, this is a classic. That had never happened.
You know that it's funny that you mentioned that, because I was like that too. Like, there was a certain point where I was just like, if it was weird, because it was like, it was at a certain point, it was just like, if it wasn't Definitive Jux or like Rhyme Sayers, or like even like All Natural, and like, if it wasn't underground, I wasn't listening to it. But there was only like one mainstream cat I was always listening to, and it was Jay-Z. And like,
yeah, bro.
And I tell the story all the time. Like, I didn't at the first listen, I couldn't stand Reasonable Doubt. When that album came out, I was like, I was like, but then it was like my love for Jay-Z came with like Hard Knock Life. And from Hard Knock Life till now, that's when like the Jay-Z stuff started happening. And then
Joe, if moms don't realize, that's really like, of course, Reasonable Doubt is classic. I didn't go to Reasonable Doubt until after Blueprint, though. You know what I'm saying? But what people fail to realize is that Hard Knock Life, that was like Jay-Z going to like another stratosphere. As far as like how he's revered now. It was the beginning of that. Because right after that, Volume 3 came. Volume 3 super slept on too. That's one of the Volume 3 got one of the coldest intro beats and songs I've ever heard on the opening of an album. You know what I'm saying? And so like from there, it just kept gradually going up. Like, yeah, people could talk crap about like Blueprint 2 or Kingdom Come, but it had joints. It was joints on them albums.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So
like I remember like maybe like a year ago or so, like going back to Jay-Z, like a year ago or so, I said to somebody about Reasonable Doubt how I just didn't like Reasonable Doubt, and then one of my brother's friends was like, I think you need to listen to Reasonable Doubt, like again, like trust me. He was like, trust me, and I was like, all right, man, I got you. And I remember it took me like maybe like another month to just actually like sit down and listen to it. And when I listened to it, I was like, wow, like whoa, what in the hell was I thinking? Like
even by today's standards, let's say if somebody said, man, I really want to know how to rap, that's one of those albums I tell somebody to play front to back if you really want to get an album where it's literally a rap clinic. Like different flows, setting up your metaphors, similes, double entendres. Like, man, it's so much. That album is dense, man. And that's what I'm saying. Like, albums like that, man, you have to look at them like literature. Like, and if you really think about it, man, like rap albums are nothing but audio literature. Like, and I hate when people say like, you know, hip hop is not deep, it's not intricate. It's like, nah, it depends on what lens you're looking at it through. Like the same way that you would compose, going back to movies, the same way that you would compose like an extraordinary movie where the story makes sense, where you know the beginning, the middle, and the end, it all coincides. The plot twist, like Reasonable Doubt embodies all of that, man. And there's a whole bunch of other albums that I look at, you know, in that scope. One of the other albums is I don't want to get sidetracked because, man, I got so many different like influences and so many different points to where it influenced like the artist that I am. I just wait to get the questions, but it's a vast number of influences, man.
One of the things that I will say for myself at just writing and rapping is just like, there was a time where I stopped because I was just like, yeah, I can rap, but I want to rap about something that's meaningful to me, even if it's just like whatever I'm going through. And so even when like we put out the Black Cinema album, like one of the critiques that I get as a writer and a rapper is that some of my material is a little bit too emo for people, and I get that, I understand that, but that was just part of the things that were kind of happening to me, and it almost makes me feel like it almost sometimes it makes me feel like you're not really listening. Like if all
that's what I was gonna say, man. Like your stuff is not. There's emotional parts to it. I wouldn't categorize it as emo though. You know who was emo? Joe Budden.
Yeah.
But Joe Budden's Mood Music series, that's some of the most heartfelt like raps I've ever heard from any artist or any era. And that's what I'm saying. Like Joe kind of like he opened up the lane for that, for people to be emotional in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying he's the only one, because I feel like Scarface was like the originator of that. his
Yeah.
different voice inflections and stuff, the way that he told stories, the way that he, you know, had those introspective tracks about himself. Like, I feel like he was the originator of that, and he was really like one of those true like storytellers. And there's no disrespect to like Slick Rick, you know, because that's the god of storytelling.
Right.
But when it comes to like feeling that emotion, feeling that pain, like you really felt it in Scarface raps and in Pac stuff too. And that's why Pac is so highly revered, because Pac made you feel whatever spirit or emotion he was putting in the joints. Like when you listen to Hit 'Em Up, you literally want to ride down and shoot somebody.
Right.
When you hear Dear Mama, it make you want to go find your mama and give her the tightest hug you can give her. And that's the sign of a true artist, man. Like, you able to bring people into your world and make them feel things that they wouldn't normally feel, and it feels like you right there sitting with them. You know what I'm saying? Like going through it. So, but nah, man, I don't know why people are saying that, man. I feel like your angle and the way that you rap, that's one of your strengths as an MC. You know what I'm saying? Being able to be vulnerable. Because vulnerability, like, honestly, like, that's how you get those fans that's going to be with you for 20, 30, 40 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From those songs that evoke that emotion and give that energy. Like, to say that you too emo, I don't agree with that. That's just me, though.
And more like, what are some of the, I guess, quote unquote, like, critiques that you get as an MC?
Before, and I mean, this was true, but before, I think I was so caught up in being such a technical, like, MC, like rapper, you know what I'm saying? Like, one of my joints was like, the facts of life, gamble with the triggers while these niggas roll the dice, shoddy to your body only if the price is right, the plot thickens as quick as your life sentence. I was too caught up in like patterns and flows, and it's like, bro, like, we don't feel anything from that. Yes, you can rap, like, you're technically, like, you can rap, but like, where's the feeling, where's the emotion? You know what I'm saying? So that's when I really started like spending more time like on my voice inflection. And people was like, man, when I hear you, like, you sound like you from New York, like, nigga, you from the west side of Chicago, like, where's that at? So,
Right.
you know, that's when I kind of realized, like, man, I need to start putting myself in these raps, not giving people a caricature of the MC that I aspire to be, but just be me. You know what I'm saying? So that was like my main critique. And then people used to tell me like my hooks weren't that great, and they wasn't. I had this one joint called Infectious. Just the name of that song alone it makes me cringe. But it was like the first beat that I made on Fruity Loops, not using the sample. It was a proud moment for me. But like when I go back and I listen to it, like, it's horrible. Like the hook was infectious, oh yeah, infectious, oh yeah. It's like, dude, why are you singing infectious, saying oh yeah,
right
in between? Like, it's terrible.
So like with me, I do a lot, like the one thing that I do as an MC is like I put a lot of things that, you know, that I love, whether like as far as like movie references and all this other stuff. So and because, you know, that I am inspired by not just hip hop, but I'm also inspired by movies and inspired by other things. About you know, because I had a conversation with Drunk on the podcast about just, you know, us being in this time where it seems like it's more accessible for us to be geeks and be proud to be geeks and express that not just in our lives but in our music. One of my favorite songs that you put out was Thanos Complex.
Yes, sir.
With you and Neat. So I just kind of talk about that. I mean, of course, we know, you know, if y'all live under a rock, y'all know about Avengers and, you know, the Arc of Thanos, but just kind of talk about when you wrote that song, when you and Neat was writing that song, like what were y'all mindset in the writing of that song?
For me, Well, first off, let me start with the production. So that sample is from the group Genesis, and I'm a huge Phil Collins fan. So it's a loop with just like some synth undertones and some light drums on it. But when I heard that, cause what I do a lot of the times, like I'll sit and I'll just listen to like just older music or listen to genres outside of what I usually listen to. So at that time, I was listening to a lot of like progressive rock. So like Genesis, Police, you know what I'm saying, things in that realm. So I came across that song, and as I was listening to it, the sample was literally talking to me. And I think my biggest strength is my presence on tracks and how strong I come forward with my delivery and my rhymes and what I'm talking about, because a lot of it is personal convictions that I really feel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what allows me to really like just be a channel and really get the bars off my chest. So that sample spoke to me. So I literally made the beat in like 20, 30 minutes because I was just trying to find the right parts to chop. You know what I'm saying? To evict that same emotion that the rhymes is. As far as like my verse, like my whole mindset at the time, when I wrote that, I was just thinking about all of the social injustice, that's going on right now. My personal, my personal fight with myself and just with like the spirit realm. And a lot of my verses are centered around that because it's a constant thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't I didn't grow up having, my pops around like that. So these rhymes, they're therapeutic for me because me looking at my father, it made me empathetic to just how the spirit realm works and how strong mentally, certain things will keep you from reaching your full potential. And so I'm empathetic with his struggle because I'm going through a lot of those same things that he faced and that he deals with. You know what I'm saying? And so with me writing, just the way that I was writing and joining this, like with my verse, living in a world full of darkness. I ain't used the sword of Democles. I'm striking another Leviathan. Like, I don't know if everybody knows the story of like Democles, but Democles was this king. Well, no, Democles, he was jealous of this king because he had all of the riches and glory and everything, and he just wanted to have the opportunity to live in that man's shoes because he thought from the outside looking in that, man, this is what's up. This is the easy life. Right. But then once he gets in that throne, there's a sword that's hanging over his head, and he's experiencing all of these evils and these dark spirits and all of these different obstacles, with debauchery, cheating, people trying to kill you, people trying to take your riches, and it's just a bunch of stuff that he was dealing with, and he didn't understand the true responsibility of what it meant to like sit on that throne. Right. So like I wanted to start off with that because I wanted to paint a picture. Like a lot of people feel like, they see their favorite artists or they see these guys out here, they pushing foreigns and they got the Maserati, they got the Rolls Royce, they got the McLaren. And, they envy those people and they want to be in that position because they got this big house, they got businesses, but you really don't know what that person did to acquire that wealth and what they're doing to maintain it. Right. And that's one of the things my mom always told me, like, man, love yours, appreciate your own. Never be envious of what somebody else got. Because you don't know how they got it. You don't know what they're doing to maintain it. You know what I'm saying? Let's bring everything back down, to the bare bones, the essence of what this life is. Yeah. And let's just look. Basically, I'm just painting a picture of everything, that's around us. It's like, man, like, I want to sustain, for my family and for myself. But man, I'm never knocking. I never get upset or envious when I see somebody else winning, especially if they my guys, because that's my whole thing. Like in the verse, break bread with all of my niggas. That's a mighty feast. never compromise my integrity. That's a mighty feat. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many people out here that are shells of themselves because they're not comfortable being who they are. They're not comfortable with themselves. They look in the mirror and they don't like what they see. So that's why they go and they try to grab at the air and try to get whatever they think looks good. And it's like, I'm at the point now, fam, like, I'm 33. Like, I'm great.
Right.
Nobody has to tell me that. Like, I'm great. I embody a lot of different qualities that, you know, that make me great. My greatness is not measured by like my riches or how much I have or material things. Like, it has nothing to do with that. It's because I'm who I am. You know what I'm saying? My character is intact. My integrity is intact. And once you got all of that intact, man, like when you go to write, every time I write, it's like I'm trying to not only call myself to a higher plateau of like how you view yourself, but I'm trying to get other people to get themselves up there. You know what I'm saying? What's some other lines? Oh, come and sit under my cherry tree. Wait. Living in the world full of darkness, I ain't buying in. Use a soda Democles striking Leviathan. I incite a riot one. Officer staff. My playbook, I can't find a silver lining in. That's a movie reference. Having dreams of nightmares. I'm starting to see the signs again. Manifest destiny. Life so tiring. Fake love and synthetic people we admiring. Long live infinite power. That's back to me. It's an embodiment of what I'm trying to give out to the people. Long live infinite. Death to the media. We need every gang to come together, draw a treaty up. Man, just imagine if the GDs, the Vice Lords, Folk on the Hustlers, Bloods, Crips, all of the big gangs came together on a unified front. You know how powerful we will be?
Yeah.
The power is in the people. But you know what I'm saying? I'm just putting that out there. And I know that there's reasons why, you know, that can't happen, but it's just me speaking in foresight. Like, man, we need every gang to come together, draw a treaty up. God gave power to the people. All we need is us. Got to take our empire back before the time is up. West Side never gonna die because it lives in me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the whole verse is really just me proclaiming who I am, what I see around me, and what I stand firm in. You know what I'm saying? Break bread with all of my niggas. That's a mighty feast. I want to see everybody. You know what I'm saying? All my guys. So it's just about, you got to speak stuff into existence, man. Like, even when things seem bleak and it seems dark, I'm heavy on that. Nah, fam. I'm about to come strong with this positive energy, and I'm gonna give it to you. But I'm gonna give it to you in a way to where it ain't gonna sound like I'm preaching. It's just me trying to like motivate mogs like me and people from whatever walk of life you from, man. Just motivate them to keep striving to be great, because we all got greatness in us, man. It's just about noticing that potential, honing in on that, and really mastering the craft. Like, and that's the part of my life I'm in right now. Like, I'm just trying to master everything. And you know, Neek, I've been friends with Neek for the longest, so I kind of wanted to get him out of, because Neek is a real smooth cat. He real jazzy, but I was trying to get him on some like real aggressive, you know what I'm saying? Like production, like, nah, fam, come slide over here real quick. You know what I'm saying? Hop on this joint. But yeah, that's my brother, man.
Yeah, man. Like, everything that you were saying, bro, like I felt that, man, because that's essentially like what the first Black Cinema album was. It was like a relationship therapy album. But like, I tell people all the time, like, yeah, I'm not just talking about relationships that I've had with my ex-wife or like other women, but I'm talking about relationship with friends, my relationship with hip-hop, my relationship with the world, my relationship with just being Black in America, like even my relationship with God, like and I'm even saying things about God or to God, because I felt like at once my relationship was strong, and now it's not with God. And so now I'm trying to get back to the point of that relationship being strong again. And so, like, you know, just everything that you were saying, man, like I felt that, because it was just like that was like my purpose for that Black Cinema album. It's just,
yes, sir.
yeah, it's a relationship album, but I'm also just venting and trying to get, you know, myself, like, I'm saying these things that I couldn't say out loud as regular Kelvin, but I'm just saying these things out loud so I can finally get them off my chest, and so everybody can know how I'm feeling and get to a better place.
See, that's the key right there, because, and see, when people, it's real cliche to say like music is therapeutic, but like for any creative, whatever your creative medium is, when you're able to get an idea from here to your heart, get it motivated enough to get it out through your hands, and you can see the physical manifestation of that.
Yeah,
there's no better feeling like in the world. And I feel like if you're a rapper, if you're making beats, man, whatever you're doing, when you get that final product in your hand and it's tangible and you can feel it, it has an effect on you. That actually builds up your confidence to continue to create and get things out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most
and so,
definitely.
like, even back to the point of what you were saying about, like, now we're living in a world where nerds are acceptable. Like, man, I've always been into what I was into. It was like, man, either you like me or you don't. I've never cared. I think that at one point in time in life, I was caring about what other people thought of me. But as far as like my hobbies and my interests, it's like, man, this is what I'm into. You know what I'm saying? If you like it, you like it. If you don't, it doesn't matter if you don't. I like it. You know what I'm saying? And that just goes back to Mogs being comfortable in their own skin and knowing who they are. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. And that was the whole point. I think at a certain time in my life, even if you listen to the Black Cinema album, I wasn't comfortable. You know what I'm saying? It was like I wasn't comfortable, and now I'm getting to a point where I am comfortable. It's all like you said, like, you know, you just have to be comfortable in what you like and what you believe, and it don't matter what everybody else say or think about it. You just know that you have to be comfortable in what you want, what you believe, what you can do as an artist. You know, it, like, I tell the story of, you know, it took me a while to actually like want to do an album, because I was just afraid of what people would think, you know, or how they would feel about certain things that I would say. And after a while, it was just like, you know what, at this point I don't care. Like, I really don't care.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Bro, you think about it. If God gave you a gift, and see, this is the thing, like, even like the concept of God, like the way that we were taught growing up, the concept of God is very limited. So it's like they would always teach us, like, man, you can't limit God to the four walls of the church.
Right.
But that's exactly what the church has done. They've limited him to the four walls. God can move in a crack house. God can move at a gang meeting. God can move in a disaster. Like, I got a line like, disaster is just a blessing in disguise. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
really, what you went through, or that what you're still going through. Like, man, I hit that barren state where I wasn't making beats. I wasn't making music at all. I didn't even know if I was gonna come back to it. And that time period, it went from like 2009 all the way up to like 2013, 2014, where I wasn't doing anything. Like, I had more than enough time to create and do what I needed to do, but I just wasn't motivated, man. But in that time, I went through so many tumultuous, crazy experiences. It just brought everything full circle back to me. And so that's the thing. Like, it's this analogy. It's like, man, like, when you're young, you know, you look at yourself in the mirror and you're just trying to, you notice, like, oh man, these are my arms, these are my legs, this is my head, this is my chest, like, this is my physical body. as you get older and you start looking in that mirror, man, you start seeing different things. You don't see the physical, you see the spiritual things, and you see the trauma. You see, you know what I'm saying, the areas where you fall short at. And in that moment in time, bro, I hated what I was looking at in the mirror. And it all comes back. It all comes back to you just learning how to love yourself.
Yeah.
Like one of the things that, you know, one of the ways that I operate is that I don't really let things like get to me like that. I can kind of like hit a wall. Let's say that wall is like depression or like lack of self-worth. I can hit that wall. I can notice it for what it is. But my mind state is always optimistic. Like, man, I don't have all the answers right now, but I know in due time I'll get through this.
Right.
And I'm on to the next one. You know what I'm saying? And when you have that, people kind of take it as you being nonchalant and you don't care. Right. I just know what to devote my energy toward. I'm not devoting my energy towards relishing in that moment and trying to stay in that moment as to why I feel the way that I feel, because it's just gonna amplify it and magnify it even more, and it's gonna make me feel more of what I'm already feeling. Instead of me trying to be like, you know what, let me try to figure out some type of solution, something to do in this moment to help shift my perspective and shift, you know, my mind and what I'm thinking about right now. Right. And like, just the older that I've gotten, the more and more I'm noticing, like, yeah, it's healthy to do that, but you also have to deal with that thing that you come up against that stops you in your path. You really have to deal with it, because Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise, the man kept reliving the same day over and over again until he figured out how to navigate through the day. It's the same thing with our shortcomings. We all are flawed. We all have things that we have to learn how to like get past. So until you can figure out how to get past that thing, you're gonna constantly keep running into the same exact thing. Yeah. And that's why it's so many people out here that have stunted growth, because they don't know how to get past what they keep running into. You really have to do that work, like, and it's personal work. It's not the responsibility of anybody else. Right. You know, there's a lot of people that are in really unhealthy relationships because they feel like their spouse or their significant other is supposed to handle their issues for them. No, fam, you need to take personal responsibility and figure out what you going through, because I got my own thing that I'm going through. Right. And we're human. Like, we're not built to have the weight of the world on our shoulders. Sometimes, fam, you got to throw your hands up and be like, man, I can't do this right now. I need to just let me refresh my mind. Let me go take a walk. You know what I'm saying? People don't know how to properly like cope with themselves, and they don't know how to properly evolve. Like, and that's what true evolution is. It's not that we turned into humans from monkeys. It's fam. You start off at one area and you just keep building on it. That's how you build your foundation. Once the foundation is built, okay, let's start building up. Let's put the beams and the pillars in place. Then after that, let's start putting the walls. There's steps to life, man. And just the music that I make now is helping me get to that point. I'm not saying I got it all figured out. What I'm saying is I'm using my positive outlook on life, even in light of this pandemic, man. It's so much greatness that's coming out of this time. People are being more creative. Yeah. People are doing things like we're doing. Like, I know this is probably supposed to be an interview, but I feel like I'm talking to one of the homies. Like, this is just a discourse and a dialogue that we have. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I feel like more people need to be empowered to delve into whatever is therapeutic for them. For some people, it might not be talking on a podcast. For some people, it might be drawing. Some people, it might be painting. Man, whatever it is, like, just really take this time while we have time to really hone in on those skills, hone in on bettering yourself. Because when you better yourself, your art is gonna exemplify that much more. It's gonna be a higher level of lyricism, a higher level of production, a higher level of songwriting, a higher level of art, higher level of output. And I just feel like that, just collectively, like, that's what we need to do.
So I guess my final question is what I ask of everybody, especially us as indie artists, especially with the pandemic that we're going through, and you kind of touched a little bit about, this is the time for us to be more creative. So, uh, as an artist, especially with the time going on, and I know you got a family, so it's like, you got to make sure everything with them is great, and and be there for them, and you got to take time and check on yourself as well.
Right.
What are the things, as far as like, with your creativity, are you doing now with the pandemic?
Well, I've been kind of doing the same thing for a couple of years, just really trying to, like I say, make sure my output is the highest level that it could be. So, along with me like rapping and producing, I started my own brand called Infinite Power. That's what this is. And I'm pretty sure, people always see me wearing something with Infinite Power on it. The whole idea behind that, man, once again, is just bringing reverence back to the Creator, to God. It's like how, one of the slogans for the brand is "Be Immortal." Obviously, not being immortal in a physical sense, but creating things that are, life changing, and things that just shift culture, so that when I do pass away and I go to the next plane of existence, I have these tangible things that people can look at. And I really want to help people. I want to help people through, through the clothing, through the message behind the clothing. And the stuff's not super expensive, but I pride myself on just making sure everything is like manicured, and make sure everything is like concise, or just very to the point of what I'm trying to do. Like this hat, this basically says "youngest of the Yahwehs" in French. And young Yahweh is basically a child of God. I'm young Yahweh, you young Yahweh. It's just bringing it back to, man, forget what everybody else is trying to tell you are. Like at the end of the day, like, you a child of God, and that's all it is. I'm just bringing back reverence to that, but doing it in a way to where it don't look corny. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that's my biggest thing. Like I look up to like Kanye. I look up to like Virgil Abloh, like Nigo. Like these are like high level like streetwear, and you know what I'm saying, just creatives. And they've always been very good at like balancing on typography. Like there's a reason why I have it like this. I didn't go to school for any of this stuff. I just kind of like know what works, what doesn't work. And that's one of those things, like when you get more in tune with yourself, you kind of like understand things without it being taught to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so it's just like the music is a universal language. Like when I sit down and I make beats, I can tell somebody like the fundamentals of like how to produce something, but like the extra sauce and those little weird sounds and the little nuances and stuff that's in my production, I can't teach that. That's just an embodiment of what I have inside, and that's what comes out. So Infinite Power, that's my brand. It's not just the clothing, it's the visuals. I started like really like empowering myself to just work on like little vignettes, because I got an album that's about to come out called "I'm Mortal." When you look at it, it's spelled out immortal, but there's a parentheses around the I and the M. There's a whole, basically the story behind that is the whole album is delving into that whole notion of immortality versus mortality. Like I strongly believe, because of what I put into the album, that the album is going to touch a lot of people in a deeper way, because of how much time I spent on how every kick is laid, how every string section is arranged. Like even when I'm singing, like it's when you listen to it, you'll understand what I'm saying. But it's just the album itself, I feel like it's going to be immortal. It's going to live on forever. But me, the physical artist, the person that created the body of work, of course, I have an expiration date.
Right.
But every song on there is just dealing with that, the mortality versus immortality. So I just recently did a small vignette about the album, and it's basically just asking like questions. It's like, okay, how's my legacy gonna live on if I can't live forever?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how can we call ourselves gods if we only man? But if I'm made in His image, what does that make me? Just, and that's what the album is centered around, asking these questions that create this conversation. Like, fam, like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? What is
Yeah.
this plane of existence? Why is this body of work important? What is
Mm-hmm.
the meaning behind it? What is the meaning behind me waking up every day? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so that the album really delves into that, and it's done at such a high level with the production and with the lyrics and with the features. Everything on there is there for a reason. So I have, I'm working on that, on the visual. I'm gonna start doing like installation performances where I can rent out like an open space or whatever, but really curate the space to create a mood, and then do performances centered around that mood. Really, I'm really just trying to think out of the box, because anybody can get on the stage and rock out in front of people, but I really want to immerse people in like an environment. I want everything to be an event. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's gonna do that if I don't do it. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's the thing about like when you're creating and you're putting out music and you're doing things, man, nobody's ever going to be excited about what you're putting out.
Right.
It's your responsibility as a creative to create an atmosphere to where it's welcoming for people to come in, or you pique somebody's interest, or you intrigue them to come to see what's going on with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I laugh when people get upset when they're like, man, I feel like people ain't feeling my stuff. It's like, people not going to feel your stuff. It's your responsibility to put it out there in a creative way to where you're bringing people in. And that's why I was like, I'm not going to limit Infinite Power just to some clothes. It's deeper than some clothes.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I care about a lot, but it's deeper than clothes. It's about, frame of mind. I want to create dialogue. I want to start having these discussions, with creatives just about our existence. Like, and it's a lot of work to be done. And I'm not saying I have everything concrete as to what I want to do, but Infinite Power is really just about acknowledging what you have inside and getting that out in whatever medium that you're doing.
Right.
So that's what I'm on. Like, it's Infinite Power. Like, that's my heart. It's my baby, because it's a direct extension of me. Also on the music side, I'm a part of a crew called Gold Standard Collective, and that's me, since 9-6, Neek, my bad, Fillmore Green, Taiwan Davis, Rashid Hadi, and Chuck 360, and we're just a collective. We just all decided to come together to really move as a unified front, to really not only put the city on the map, but to really like come together to build each other up to move as a unified front. So if you see me like post up GSC or post up trophies, it's all just going back to the squad, to the crew. So we moving as a crew. So all of our releases are intermingled with one another, and we're all featured on each other's albums. And we got some real special coming very soon as a collective. So just stay tuned for that. But I'm really excited, man. Like, me being with this crew, and like just me really like just continuing to unravel Infinite Power and allow it to blossom into whatever it's gonna turn into. Like, it's just been real exciting. So I'm here for the ride, man. You just gotta stay consistent, just keep moving, keep pushing forward, man. No matter what anybody says or how bleak things look, man, you gotta still be great out here.
Well, thank you again for coming on here and chopping it up with your boy, man. I really appreciate that, man.
Thank you, man. And everybody, go pick up that Black Cinema album. That joint is fire.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Fire.
Man, so tell everybody where they can like hear your music, check out your clothing, everything.
Bet. The Infinite Power website is infinitepower.bigcartel.com. So that's infntpwr.bigcartel.com. We're in the midst of like doing like a huge I wouldn't say rebrand, but a reintroduction to the people. So a lot of the classic pieces that I have that are sold out right now, I'm gonna be, reintroducing that like on a larger scale. And we're gonna have an official site coming soon. For my music, you can actually get all of my releases at fablethegreat.tumblr.com. My first album is on there. The last show be first. Everything all the way up until the Smokers Freestyle that me and Since 96 dropped a couple weeks back. That's on there. So that's Fable the Great, FableTheGreat.bandcamp.com. I think I said Tumblr before, my bad. FableTheGreat.bandcamp.com. That's where you can find all my music. I'm on all of the DSPs, so Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, what have you. All of that is on there. Thanos Complex, everything. Mind Racing too. That's on there. My Instagram is at Fable the Great. My Twitter is Forever Fable. You can slide to my Tumblr too. I still got Tumblr, FableTheGreat.tumblr.com. It's much more coming. Like I said, man, thank you again. And just stay tuned, man. It's about to get crazy. So.
Yeah, man, and y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Check out Fable's clothing line. Check out Fable's music. Some of the dopest music I've heard, and once again I gotta say thank you to my brother Fable for coming on the podcast, man. Make sure y'all check out the Black Cinema album. Black
Yes,
Cinema, we are dropping another album June 19th called Darky Horror Picture Show.
Go pre-order that joint.
Yeah,
I got to do that today.
Yeah, man. And man, thank y'all again for tuning in to the Dope Sessions podcast. Also, I will be putting some of Fable's songs on the Dope Sessions playlist that's on Spotify. It features Fable and Black Cinema and all the other artists that I got the chance to chop it up with on this podcast as well. And till next time, y'all, we'll see y'all. Peace.
Love.